You're beautiful now. Look at that. The image is all clear. We are here with Sean Kelly from Crash Kelly and, Nelly Furtado's band. But we're here to talk about Four by Fate. Let's see, who do we got in there? John Regan, who's played with Peter Frampton. Tod Howarth, who's been in FREHLEY'S Comet, and John as well. And Stet Howland, who's been with W.A.S.P. So what's this project all about?
Rock and roll, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
To quote some FREHLEY'S Comet. Yeah, man. Well, as you know, Mitch, I mean, you're the impetus for this project. I was honored to be asked to take part in the World with Heroes tribute CD that you put together for the Cancer Hospice in Montreal, and recorded the track.
And still doing very well.
Yeah, thank God. And it's no surprise. I mean, there's some world-class talent on that record. And I was fortunate enough to work with Terry Illis on that. And we did a version of... And, it was funny. It was through listening to that album and hearing John and Tod revisiting the Breakout, really got me thinking about that band and that music again. Like, I grew up with those guys. That was very important music to me. And from everything from the artwork and reading about them in Guitar World magazine, it got me thinking about them. And then, so when you phoned and suggested, hey, what about working with these guys? I was very intrigued and thrilled. And like most things I'm finding in my life these days, when things are rooted in friendship first, everything else falls into place. And I think we really clicked as human beings first. And man, here we are, getting ready to rock.
Yeah, I gotta say the musically, I found that there's a nice fit, and also how you envision the rock world and how you approach things. Like I know how John approaches things and how Tod, and it just seems that you were all in the same sort of vibe, philosophy. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It just seemed like it was puzzle pieces that needed to be put together.
Well, you know what? I think so too. And then, when Danny Stanton came on board, that was a next logical piece, because Danny is somebody I've admired from afar for a long time.
Absolutely.
As a businessman, as a hard worker, as a, kind of early heavy metal record company visionary, with Mongol Horde Records, and a singer himself. He came along and had, he wanted to be a creative part of this. He wanted to be a soul part of this. And when
he brought Stet into it,
And you know what's funny? Stet is the only person I have met in person. I met Stet at NAMM years ago. I was actually down there doing a signing for SIT Strings. And I met Stet, and I walked over to him, and I told him how much I admired his work with W.A.S.P. And he was such a humble, great guy. We hit it off, and years later, here we are.
Here you are. Yeah. So when we were talking about this originally, it was going to be a couple of shows for the World with Heroes tribute and do some Kiss stuff, but it's grown from that. We're talking new music now, like real new music, not just covers.
That's right. And it's funny when I approach those things too. Like, even though it wouldn't be my material, I was going to go in there and give my heart and soul to that material because it was very important to me. And that's kind of what we envisioned. We said, hey, we're going to go in there and do quality versions of these songs. They want it. I know John and Tod, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they wanted to do this for the fans who've been waiting to see those guys come together for so long.
Absolutely.
But, then I started listening to Todd's solo work. I dug into John. I realized John Regan lives in half of my record collection.
He really does.
From Billy Idol to the Stones to Frampton, you name it, right? And, the opportunity is here to have people we've all committed our lives to rock and roll. Yep. We've all studied it. We're students, we're practitioners, and I think the time is now. And I'm going to go out there and say, I think the world needs it. And I want to bring it out there. And I feel very humbled and honored that I'm going to get a chance to do it with these guys. This is the band I've dreamed about.
Yeah, and I've got to say, we do that Three Sides of the Coin Kiss podcast, and we talk about Kiss, Kiss, Kiss all the time. But the fans keep writing us and saying, what about FREHLEY'S Comet? Talk about FREHLEY'S Comet. FREHLEY'S Comet needs a reunion. And it's like, okay, so Ace is not in this, but you've got two of the bigger parts of that band, and can't go wrong. It's going to be a melodic hard rock heaven for fans.
For sure. And, I got to say, just speaking to the Ace thing, Mitch, we've talked about this for years. I'm an acolyte of Ace Frehley. Ace is a big influence on my playing. I'm a fan of his songwriting, his vocals, his approach, everything. I'm an Ace Frehley fan. So I'm going to be going in, and when I approach that material, to me, that's no different than playing when I play Mozart or play Bach on classical guitar. That stuff needs to be performed correctly.
Absolutely.
And I've studied it. And I'm going to go in there and honor it.
Well, you did. I mean, back on one of your Crash Kelly releases, you had covered Calling Dr. Love. So you've been there. You've done it. Yeah,
that's right. That was for the Japanese version of the One More Heart Attack record. That's right. We had a bonus track. And yeah, you know, I mean, what more can I say? I'm a Kiss fan too.
Yeah.
And I came to Frehley's Comet through Kiss, like I'm sure a lot of people did.
Absolutely.
And
I did.
Yeah, but you know that band stood on its own, and that music continues to stand on its own. And I think the response we've received so far from fans around the world who've embraced it so warmly just shows that band had a much farther reach than maybe even history dictated. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, you know, let's wrap this up because we've got so much to do in the next couple of months. But where are we going in 2014? What are the plans right now that you can speak of?
Well, I'll tell you. On a personal level, Mitch, I dedicated 2014 to be a year of rock, and I've been blessed to have a career that's existed in pop and in classical and a few other places. But I really made a commitment to open myself up to opportunities to be involved in rock and roll. And once I did that, this situation seemed to really come into place. So what I want to see happen, and I'm sure most of us do, is to get out there, play some great shows, bring this to as many people as we can, and get in a room, write some great music, and we're all putting our hearts and minds towards that goal.
Yeah, and that's a great goal. So Facebook.com/4byfate, and of course you've got the Metal on Ice. Quickly,
yes, sir.
Let's plug Metal on Ice.
Yeah, man. Well, that's important too. We have a live show coming in May. I'll tell you it's May. I can't announce the date, but fans, we do have a room. We do have some great partners. It is happening in May in Toronto. I'm also going to be playing guitar with Lee Aaron on some dates this summer, which is a real thrill.
There you go. So
yeah.
the whole Canadian thing, and of course, still writing with Helix.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, the new Helix record is sounding phenomenal. We just got our pre-pro demos. That's coming out through Paris Records, through Tom Mathers.
Oh, good.
Tom just heard the demos and freaked out. He loves it. So that's happening very soon. Just saw some preliminary artwork for the album. That's great. I'm working with Carl Dixon too. We have a gig on Friday. We have a new acoustic project.
Good.
And yeah, man, all these things are synergistic. This, you know, the music that we love, Mitch, and we've talked about so much, melodic hard rock. This community is not going away.
Nope.
I've heard all the reports. I've read the Classic Rock magazine saying rock's dead. Rock's not dying. It was just sent underground for a while to get stronger. Now it's coming back up.
Listen, go to the BBC today. They just put out a report that rock was the #1 musical genre seller for 2013. So
that's right.
There
That's
you go.
Right.
But quickly, Metal on Ice. There's a Twitter for it. There's a Facebook for it. And for those who don't know, it's your take on these classic Canadian songs where you got the Killer Dwarves and Helix to recut some of their songs, and sounds fucking killer. I mean, it's great.
Thanks, man. And, you know, all based on the book, right? The Metal on Ice book that came out through Dunder Press. And,
it's over at Amazon.com if you want to pick it up, and other online retailers, and physical also.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's right, man. That's it. There's lots going on, Mitch.
That's it. I'm sure this is not the only interview we're going to do about 4by Fate. There's going to be a whole bunch this year.
That's right, man. I'm looking forward to it. And once again, thank you, brother, for, you know,
pushing
you got me into Helix. You got me into 4by Fate. I'm going to owe you a beer or two.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on getting you into Aerosmith next week, so we'll see.
All right,
Brush up on your Joe Perry riffs.
I did that ages 13 through 34.
All right, thank you. We'll talk soon. Bro.